What's up, Renegades? I'm Z, and this channel shows you the world through my lens. Guys, I actually reacted to my first Rage Against the Machine song, Take the Power Back. Crazy good recommendation, because I think for somebody who's listened to like mostly hip hop for the majority of his life, it was a really easy transition to kind of go into another genre, because it felt like I was kind of just listening to rap over kind of like a more rock slash, I don't know what it would fall. Look, I struggle really hard to know am I listening to, rock, alternative, metal. I just don't know enough about these genres to know what is what. So it was just nice to hear that it kind of felt like I was listening to rap over, a rock instrumentation. That's what I'm going to say. And again, I could be saying it wrong, but you guys can definitely correct me. So I really enjoyed that. I had a slight delay with my editor. He was having some issues with accessing the back end of my YouTube. So we're just solving that right now, and I'll hopefully get that out. So if you guys are interested, you can check that out. But we are checking out Bittersweet Symphony. I feel like I know this original from the Verve, but only because it's like, I don't actually know the Verve band, but the moment I saw this title, I was like, I feel like I know this, because it's just a very well-known song. So we're going to jump into this. We're going to check this out. I do see that there's a live version here. Definitely, if you guys want me to check that out, you can let me know. But this was just one of the things that was recommended on the comment section of Suicide, because I think it was a good idea to kind of take a moment away from those heavy things before going into 4Joe. And I know 4Joe is like a mix of what I've already listened to with maybe a little bit more new stuff. And it's a live rendition, but I definitely want to check out 4Joe next. I just thought I could take a quick break, do something that's maybe a little bit lighter, something I could kind of just relax. Obviously, been a little bit heavy the last couple times. Even Take the Power Back, like, it was just such a loaded message, and so much to kind of talk about with what was on that from Rage Against the Machine. So anyways, great recommendation on that. Let's jump into this, see what we have, and then we'll do 4Joe next. Boo.
I've got dirt on my Reeboks from staying up all night. Spent my last £10 on this pack of Marlboro Lights. I phoned up Stevie, I said, G, you alright? He said, it's 6 in the morning, brother, get some shut-eye. I feel a sense of well-being this time in the morning. Wear my heart out of my hoodie.
Sorry, I just realized that my captions are on. Again, I react to some Korean music, so I need it for the translations.
Some shut-eye. I feel a sense of well-being this time in the morning. Wear my heart out of my hoodie while the city is snoring. Drunks falling off the sidewalks get issued a warning. Distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is the Britain I know. This is the...
Ooh, crescendo.
Warning, distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is the Britain I know. This is the Britain I love. There's poetry inside this city if you listen enough. Working class casualties out on the street sleep rough, while a mother with her baby takes her pram to the pub. And while she's knocking them down,
And this is... I don't know enough about that to talk about it.
Sleep rough, while a mother with her baby takes her pram to the pub. And while she's knocking them down, the cost of living goes up. I can't relate to politicians with their head in the mud. I resonate.
Come on now. This is one of those things. Look, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you guys, but when the incident with Max happened, one of the things that helped me come out of kind of my like drug addiction spiral was I started writing, you could call it a journal, but I kind of was like writing like lyrics, because again, I was a hip hop guy, like it's just what I knew. And so I was just kind of writing stuff, and it kind of like slowly transitioned into making music. I've made music for like, now I haven't for several years, but I was making music for a better part of like 10 years. And just for myself and my friends, like I don't think maybe in the beginning I had like some naive moments of feeling like, I'm going to try to make it. But I think I'm a fairly realistic person. and I knew that that wasn't really going to be the case, but I made it for myself and shared it with my friends, and sometimes shared it with my family when I felt like the subject matter was something that I could, do that for. And so, listening to this part.
Down, the cost of living goes up. I can't relate to politicians with their head in the mud.
Yeah, so this is something that I have written about in a song where it's like you have these politicians who want to try to make you believe that they came from what you came from, whether it's situations, whether it's experiences, whether it's economic hardships, whatever, and they want to try to make you feel like they can somehow relate. And unfortunately, again, I've talked about the kind of the pitfalls of a lot of the modern Western democracies, the way that they're set up today. To make your way up to the top, you have to end up becoming, you either come from a place that isn't at all relatable to the average person, or you've become so far detached from it that you have no clue what's going on. And I also love just kind of the juxtaposition of him saying she's knocking him down while cost of living is going up. So just the down up visual, but also again a real issue that everyday people are facing, and now more so than ever. So
I resonate with
fire.
messy Fridays with the boy smoking bud. We do our bit to numb the struggle, as below so above, and as above so below. Here.
And again, he's doing that. He's doing this thing. But again, using the substances to numb yourself. This is a very common thing, especially for people who have had any issues with this. That's a lot of the reason why. Sometimes people think it's about chasing this like amazing feeling and high, but the reality is for a lot of people, it's about numbness because of the things that they're feeling.
Smoking bud, we do our bit to numb the struggle, as below so above, and as above so below. Here in the city we glow, I blow a smoke ring up to heaven and it makes a halo, and then the clock strikes 7, guess it's time to head home. My companion is the city, so I'm never alone. I'm stepping in and out of gaps of the pavement cracks, and if I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. People rise for work and the sun mirrors that. So I'm never alone. I'm stepping in and out of gaps of the pavement cracks, and if I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. People rise.
If I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. I'm stepping in and out the gaps. And you guys might have to help me out with that. Help me out with that.
The pavement cracks, and if I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. People rise for work and the sun mirrors that. A perfect juxtaposition for those out on the lash. Bear with me, it's beautiful, I think it's irrefutable. There's beauty in the contradicting Britain, indisputable. Junkie in the cubicle, that old spoon is usable. His mother's in the black suit, crying at a funeral. 9 to 5 crucible, this route is not commutable. A kid falls off the tracks and then he serves a scratch at juvenile. Libby's at the door.
Bro, can we talk about the rhyme scheme right now? Nah, this dude is elite. This dude, I'm sorry, we gotta come back. We gotta come back, because this is...
Position for those out on the lash, bear with me. It's beautiful, I think it's irrefutable. There's beauty in the contradicting Britain, indisputable. Junkie in the cubicle, that old spoon is usable. His mother's in the black suit, crying at a funeral. 9 to 5 crucible, this route is not commutable. A kid falls off the tracks and then he serves a scratch at juvenile. Libby's at the Dolies, but her disposition's humorful, while Davy's at the bookies and his mates call him delusional. Britain, drink it down and moan about the weather when the sun starts shining, feel the factor 10 tremor. Boys will be in it together until the fists start flying like they're Conor McGregor, and then he's out.
Oh boy, Connor. How times have changed.
Together until the fists start flying like they're Conor McGregor, and then he's out. I think he took it too far. I think the boy saw red. I think he hit him too hard. Now he's face down on the pavement with the face full of tar. Mad how small altercations can define who we are. That's my cue. I guess it's time to head home. It's bittersweet how my high found its way to below, and I've said it once.
And he's continuing to keep that as a thread throughout. I love that. How my high became a low. Now I'm kind of wondering if that was also part of what he was saying with the pavement and cracks, because that's on the ground, and anti-climax because climax is up here. Typically when you sleep, you're laying down. Climax, I don't know. I feel like that could be part of it, but I still feel like I was missing something in that line.
It's time to head home. It's bittersweet how my high found its way to below. And I've said it once before, as above, so below. Living on the streets of Britain, you just go with the flow. But I'm done. I'm out for the night. As the sun paints the pavements, I'll turn out the light. White noise on the radio to quiet my mind. Always was an overthinker, just the way I'm designed. Britain, drink it down and moan about the weather. When it's all said and done, we'll be in it all together. Boys will be boys, we'll be like it forever. It's a bittersweet symphony, we're birds of a feather.
Wow, that was dope. Man, and this is one of those things, like, there's one of the cool things about him is that he's always gonna find some way to get messaging through. And I walk into this particular song being like, I need something kind of like a little bit more light. And sometimes people make light music and it's just like about nothing. But I find that like this was like a really cool way to talk positively about where he's from, talk about Britain in a positive way. When, I feel like this is one of those situations where it's like a lot of the things that he probably makes commentary on come across as talking negatively about Britain. And in this particular song, it's kind of like this delineation of, the people and Britain, the soul and heart of Britain can be great, and we can be kind of great together. And it has like all these, good things and funky things and weird things, and it's like a mix of stuff. And this delineation of his criticisms being about, he, in this particular song, he brought up the politicians again. And again, we know his disdain for greed. So the current modern Western democracies being like heavily, influenced by greed because of things like lobbying. Like this is something I brought up in the past. So like for him kind of to create that delineation, I kind of feel like it was a cool thing, because maybe for some people who feel perhaps nationalistic or patriotic, they may come across his music and feel like it's just attacks on their country, and something that they love and something that they care for and something that they are committed to. And I think that sometimes that delineation is important. If I ever make criticisms about, like, say, the United States, it doesn't mean that I hate Americans. It's more about the institutions, and there's a lot of different things that I could criticize. And I'm specifically picking them right now because, I lived in the States for 10 years. Some of my best friends live in the States. A lot of my family actually still lives in the States. So it's something that I know very well. And then I know Canada very well. So I can be very critical about some of the systems that are in place in Canada. I was actually born in England. I don't know if you guys knew that. I was born in London. A lot of my family lives in England as well. But it's a place that I've spent the least amount of time. I've only visited for like, a month at a time or something like that. And so it's a little more difficult for me to have those critical viewpoints or criticisms about England. But I also lived in Pakistan for the better part of a decade. I'm living in the Middle East. So I have a lot of different kind of experiences in terms of government systems and the way things are run, and how that kind of eventually makes its way down to the average person and what the average person experiences because of those different systems. So it's one of those things where, like, I could never be like, I would never be like Canadians are bad, Americans are bad, or Pakistanis are bad, or Arabs are bad, or British people are bad. It's that delineation is important, and I kind of feel like that's the message that came through for me listening to this. But definitely let me know what you guys felt. Again, I'm always open to the possibilities that I'm gonna miss the mark sometimes when I'm listening to stuff. But I'd love to know your takes. It was great to hear that the Bittersweet Symphony instrumental. That was really great to hear. But yeah, I feel like that was a nice little break for me, and now I can gear myself up to listen to For Joe, which will probably be in like a couple days. If you guys are still here, I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.